Sack Life, beat depression. It's day 710, and we're back again with another somatic healing session to wipe out depression. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here now. Anyone who's tuning in later, as you know, we love to focus in on gratitude with those powerful mental health tools, and the show is all about martial arts for mental health. So tune into those tools. The first one we usually tap into is gratitude, but before I acknowledge my pieces of gratitude today, I want to make sure I'm not taking a toxic positivity approach to life, and in order to do that, it's very important to acknowledge the negatives. So today, the negatives are going to be that I'm running on 2.5 hours of sleep, in a weird state of mind, weird state of body, my tummy feels funny, and that's probably going to affect my performance. So I'm going to acknowledge those negatives, and now let's use some gratitude to flip that mindset around and put me in a more positive state of mind as we move into today's lesson. I am grateful today that I was able to make it to the DMV and get that sack cycle registered. The sack monkey will be back, well, not back, but will be up and in depression fighting action in no time. Finally having transportation is going to make a tremendous difference out here. Sorry about that, just cutting down on some glare. Having transportation is going to make a tremendous difference out here. I'll be able to offer free training to anybody in the Kearney, New Jersey, North Arlington, New Jersey area. So if you're interested in free training, if you've been diagnosed with depression or anxiety, or you just like to come out and see what it's about, what it is I'm doing, feel free to hit me up in the DM. I'll now be able to travel into your general direction. So that's good news. That's something I'm grateful for. Fix the fueling issues. That's something I'm grateful for. And I'm grateful that a welder arrived, because I'll be able to create new training tools that will never before seen. Will be attached to the sack monkey cycle, and I'll be out there on the road in depression fighting action in no time. So plenty of stuff to be grateful for. Also grateful to you guys and girls out there for tuning into the show, for supporting the cause. And I want to shout out gratitude as well to Y9 Music for being amazingly supportive from the beginning. If you didn't see the latest Instagram reel, they're up on their one of their songs, pretty dope song. I was able to do some boxing to it. Felt great. And if you box the music, let me know what type of music you're boxing to out there as well. Not now, but in the comment section below that video. That being said, let me shout out to everybody in here. See who's here right now. We got Madwithhats up in the studio, Lisa Luminary, and SlayerKen. You guys are all rocks in the system. And that's good rocks in the system, not like a wrench in the system. But you guys have been steady and steadfast and consecutively dedicated, putting in work and making progress every day. You're all in the triple digits. That's super impressive, and I'm super grateful to have such a cool motivational team of growth-minded individuals with me as we move forwards. And you guys are one of the reasons why this is public, why I'm here, why I'm able to get out of bed today. And another reason why I'm able to get out of bed today is because I'm keeping track of those days, right? It's been 710 days of consecutive progress and success for me, the Sackman, so I know that 2 hours of sleep is not going to stop me. We're still going to be able to get up and get it done by showing up for ourselves and moderating to our intensity level. We can always find a way to give ourselves a challenge and make progress every day, no matter our surroundings, no matter our environment, or what it is, what condition that we are living in. There is always a way forward, and that number is proof of that. So I hope that you guys and girls are keeping track of your numbers. I know you are. You've been keeping track for so long. All in triple digits. It's amazing. If you are keeping track of that number, as you will find in your lives, slowly over time, it will build into more and more evidence of your strength and endurance, and that can translate over into every aspect of life, slowly changing the mindset that depression would like us to have, which is that victim mindset, slowly changing it into a victor mindset, where you have proof of your accomplishments, your strength, your endurance, your perseverance. And it's not just like you got up and you fought forwards. You put in work, and you're getting what you deserve. You're getting the rewards from that hard work. So if you are staying consistent, you're putting in that time, you're keeping track of it, make sure you give yourself credit for it, and then feel free to share that number to help inspire others. Ken has shared his number, 318 days of consecutive training. Good stuff, Ken. well on your way to a year, crushing those goals out there, and you should be proud of yourself for that progress. Brett as well, shout out to Brett. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for tuning in, both for you and for others. Today's session is supposed to be a high intensity round, but as you know, because the focus is mental health, we always want to tune into our bodies, tune into our minds, and see how we're feeling for the day, and adjust to our environment. If you didn't sleep last night, like myself, you're not going to be at 100%, so it would be unreasonable to expect to do the same amount of work that you did yesterday, or put out that same amount of energy if you were well rested the night before. If you've had alcohol, that stuff will affect you, or if you're out partying, or, there's so many things to take into consideration. But that's why it's so important to tune into you and make this about you, make it individual to you. It's been 54 days for Brett. Heck yeah, brother. Thanks for sharing that number and sharing that progress. All you guys are putting up big numbers out there, and it's super cool to have this awesome team of mental health warriors out there, because you're not just fighting for yourselves, but when you share that number, you're helping others fight for themselves. For that, can't thank you enough. It's one of the reasons why I continue to do this every day publicly, and I'm continuing to look for ways to improve it and bring these tools to other people in different forms and fashions. So thank you. Lisa shared her number at 410 days. That's insane. Crushing it. I mean, I'm at 710, so I guess we're both insane. But man, that is a lot of progress. Lisa, you are definitely a luminary in my life. It's impressive to see that you made it through even bad days, and over a year of progress. That's tremendous. So thank you, Lisa, for motivating myself and others with your progress. All right, let's get back on track. We've got our standard rounds today, 3 rounds, 3 minutes each, 1 minute break in between to catch breath, drink some water. Like I said, I am going to be dialing back my intensity, but that doesn't mean we can't make progress. We've got proof that we can make progress, and that's that number. So we're going to visualize that opponent. We're going to fight from a Muay Thai stance. We're going to work on switching stance today. We're going to work on advancing forwards with those jabs and crosses, moving forwards and backwards, and throwing those punches at the same time. We're going to talk about stepping over, jab, cross, jab, and from here, boom, stepping into southpaw position and continuing that barrage, that assault, really putting the pressure on that depression dummy. We want to get that forward momentum in there. Something that's going to separate you, if you do ever take this into competition or you take it into the streets, something that'll separate you from a beginner is being able to move forwards and backwards while punching, being able to keep those feet going and stay balanced in your stance. Balance is tremendous. When you focus on balance, you'll see that your technique and form and your power, everything will improve. And when you get that mobility up, it'll really take things to the next level. So talking about mobility, we're going to cover that Muay Thai stance real quick, even though you guys are familiar, but for anybody else tuning in, we're using a balanced Muay Thai stance. There are multiple Muay Thai stances out there. Some more defensive, some more offensive, and we covered some of those things in the past. But the one we use most of the time is a nice balance, more of a modern Muay Thai stance. And you can visualize a square on the ground, and then step forwards into that square, placing the ball of the front foot in the top corner, ball of the back foot in the bottom corner. Put a little bend in those knees, feet angled forwards towards your opponent. Guard high by the brow line, close the fingers, tuck the thumbs. You got your dominant hand to the back, chin tucked, shoulders rolled, hips curled, and we're nice and balanced. We shift our weight from that front foot to the back foot here. And as we jab today, we're going to do this advancing jab where we step forwards with that front foot, boom, as we toss that jab. So we're twisting through into the step, and then we're bringing the rear foot forwards. It's a small motion. It's not a big leap. We're not leaping. We're just taking these small, controlled, balanced steps. So twist in and step. Twist in and step. Twist in and step. Bringing that back foot. Making that front foot move first, and then back foot just recenter. Keeping yourself in that balanced stance. Always return to the balanced, centered stance after each strike. And we'll talk about advancing jab, advancing jab, advancing jab, toss to cross and jab, and then the retreating. So when we step back for the retreating jab, we're moving the rear foot first, toss that jab, and then wind up. Toss, wind up, toss, wind up, toss, wind up, toss, toss, back, toss, 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 and always square up after each strike. We'll do that with the jab and cross, get ourselves more mobile, and we'll talk about jab, cross, jab, 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 cross, switching over to southpaw to continue to put that pressure on that depression dummy. So you'll have to give yourself room back and forth. Hopefully you guys have enough room to move around out there. Coming at you from the apartment today as well, because there's very noisy construction going on outside. So we're doing what we can. So from our balanced Muay Thai stance, we're going to do a jab and an advancing cross this time. But with the cross, we're going to step in for the jab, and with the cross, we're going to twist through and actually rotate all the way through and step into southpaw stance. So now everything is reversed, and we can do that advancing jab from southpaw position right from there and keep that forward momentum going. So that's what we'll be covering today. Basics, jabs and crosses, advancing in, retreating, switching over into southpaw stance as you move forwards, really throwing that opponent off and keeping the pressure on them, making us dangerous warriors out here and putting that depression dummy right in its place. To make sure it's focused on mental health and not just martial arts training, we want to make sure that we visualize that opponent and assign it that name, the depression dummy. By consciously acknowledging what we subconsciously do every day, we can reinforce the truth. Right? That's how positive affirmations work. They only work to reinforce true beliefs. They don't work to change beliefs. So we have to state something that's true. And by fact, by way of us being here, getting up and moving forwards, by fact, we are defeating the debilitating effects of depression because we're not debilitated. We're giving ourselves proof that we are stronger. So use that positive affirmation and that conscious acknowledgement of what you're doing by assigning that visualized target the name depression dummy. Shout out as well to Claude or Valen for the support. Appreciate you out there. So we're going to pop back into Muay Thai stance like I mentioned before. Visualize that opponent. Make sure you're assigning that depression dummy its name, the depression dummy, and we're going to knock those lies right out of his face. To aid us and aid our progress, we'll have some fighting spirit coming through that sweet boombox. Let's do it.
Bluetooth.
Hey now. And as I said, we're here to challenge ourselves to our intensity level as individuals. So that means you've got some things to moderate. Your pace, right? How fast you're moving, the power behind those punches, and the speed. The speed, the volume, and the power. Those are the three things you can moderate. So the speed of those punches, the volume of those punches, how many you're tossing, and the power behind them. Those are three things that you can moderate and bring up or down in intensity so that this lesson suits you and can challenge you to your skill level. It's important not to overwork because we wind up running into more anxiety, more depression when we do that, and we need passive days off. And it's important not to underwork because then we won't roll into boredom and there's no reason to continue. We won't have that challenge fueling our growth, fueling our progress. We won't be able to enter that flow zone. So we want to aim for that zone in between anxiety of too high intensity and the boredom of too low intensity. There's that flow zone in the middle, and that's where we can make a ton of extra benefits and keep it enjoyable, keep it challenged, keep it growth-based, growth-minded. So remember to moderate those three things. Remember to stay hydrated. We're going to get this show on the road. Let's see what happens. First off, let's get the tunes pumping. Go ahead and square up. Go ahead and square up with that depression dummy. Give yourself room in front of your camera there or in front of your phone. Give yourself room to advance. And from our Muay Thai stance, we're going to start just stepping forwards and tossing that jab. Just do it nice and slow. Toss that jab. Once that jab makes contact or is fully extended, we're going to bring that rear foot forwards and rebalance. Remember, squared, balanced, centered. Tuck that chin. Then step again into the second jab and rear foot comes up, square up, we're balanced. Step in for the third advancing jab, turning that fist over, landing the large two knuckles, tuck that thumb, and the rear foot follows, return to balance. Bring it all the way back, stepping one foot at a time. Remember, when we move forwards, front foot steps first. When we move backwards, rear foot steps first. Keep it springy, keep those knees bent, stay nice and light on the balls of the feet. And let's step in for some advancing jabs. Step in for the one. Right here, make contact. Rear foot comes up. Recenter. Step in for two. rear foot, recenter. 3, rear foot, recenter. Keep it square. And then back yourself back out. Give yourself room to make that advance. Step in again, advancing jabs. 1, 2, 3. Square up and retreat. 2, 3. Back to stance. Remember, you can roll those hands, shift that weight back and forth to keep the pace going, and move at your level. Step in for 3 advancing jabs. And square up, head back. 1, 2, 3. Those fists rolling for pace, tuck the chin, step in and toss some advancing jabs in that depression dummy's face. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. And square up, head back out. 1 foot at a time. We're staying balanced, keeping that stance wide, right? Nice and square. Bent knees, bent feet, heels off the ground. Shifting that weight forwards and backwards. Step in for the advancing jab. 1, 2, 3. And we're square. And we're retreating. Open up that safe zone. Step in for the 1, 2, 3. Square up and retreat. Now you can pick up the pace, pick up the speed, and go at your level. Push to your level here. Just get it nice and fluid. Get used to moving and striking at the same time. We're going to start adding in the cross now. As we move forwards, we're going to step in for the jab. We're going to rotate for the cross. Bring that rear foot up, step in for the jab, rotate for the cross, boom, rear foot up, and then back out, back out, back out. Step in for the jab, rotate for the cross, small step on that rear foot, step in for the jab, rotate for the cross, boom, small step on that rear foot, step for the jab, rotate for the cross, and then back it out. Keep it centered, keep the guard high, 1 foot moves at a time, and step in for the jab, cross, jab, and we're there. Finish with round 1. Catch your breath, drink some water, check in on you, make sure you're not pushing too hard, not feeling dizzy, nauseous, or lightheaded. Those are signs of overreaching. Also seeing spots, signs of overreaching. You'll need to dial that intensity back. In round 2, we're going to start talking about switching over into southpaw stance with the cross instead of the plain regular advancing cross, and we're going to fire that advancing jab from southpaw stance as well, so we can balance out that training. At the 3rd round, we'll mix it all together, and you'll hopefully have a flow-based session where we can move in and out of that danger zone and stay dangerous ourselves the whole time. Alright, we got about 14 seconds. We go ahead and square up, and in this 2nd round, we're going to talk about that advancing cross. Right, we've got the advancing jab. For the cross, we want to switch over, boom, switch over to southpaw position. So we're twisting through the hips here. Step in for the 1, twist through the hips. For the 2, keeping the head centered, keeping the body balanced, right? We're using that rotation for force. Go ahead and reset to orthodox position. Step in for the 1, pop, nice and balanced. Rotate through to the 2, right? It's a pivot. Don't lean into that strike, just rotate through on the ball of that front foot, swinging that rear foot all the way around. Reset, step to the 1, boom, rotate for the 2, wuss, boom, there it is. And now finish, drive across from the opposite side, bam, we're in southpaw position now. Advancing jab, 1, 2, and square up all the way back to orthodox stance. Give yourself room. Let's talk about that switching cross again. Step in for the jab, rear foot moves forwards to square, right? We're centered. From here, we're pivoting on that front foot, and we're tossing that cross forwards. That cross has now become our jab. We're going to continue with the advancing jab here. Push off that rear foot, bump to the jab again. Square up and work your way out. Stay in southpaw here. Backing out. I know it's going to feel awkward because we haven't trained southpaw that much. Switch it back up to orthodox when you got your distance covered. And we're going to step in for the advancing jab. Twist, pivot on that front foot for the cross. Boom, there it is. You can slow it down to your pace, to your skill level. From here, we're going to twist through for a cross from the opposite side. And we're going to start with the advancing jab. Bah, bah, bah. Square up. Boom. And back out of there, 1 foot at a time. When we're moving backwards, that rear foot's gonna go first. If we're in southpaw, that means everything is reversed. Keep it squared and switch over to orthodox. Step in for that first jab, pop. Rotate all the way through, pivoting on the front foot. Bang for that cross. and keep the guard high. Step in for the advancing jab, jab, and back to stance. Back it out of there. Boom, boom. 1 foot at a time. Rotate back to orthodox stance. Step in for the jab, pop. Rotate for the cross. Boom. There it is. Switching the feet into southpaw, and continue the lead jab. 3 shots, 3 strikes, moving forwards with that jab. Now work your way back. Back foot moves first. Boom, boom, boom. We're centered. We're squared. Switch it back over to orthodox. Step in for the jab. Pop. Twist through. Pivot on that front foot for the cross. And lead hand. Advancing 3 jabs there. Now switch it back to orthodox stance here. From that striking position at your final blow, switch back to orthodox stance and bring that lead hand up. We're going to start sinking as we move back and tossing that little defensive jab as we go. Here we go, back to stance, step in for the 1, twist for the 2, and jab, 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 twist back into orthodox for that counter jab, and that's the end of round 2. Catch your breath, drink some water. We're putting all those things together, we're getting closer and closer in the final round, and make sure you're being kind to your mind and body on your journey, staying hydrated, and respecting your environment and current condition. We got 35 seconds. I'm definitely challenging myself. I got a sweat going, I'm feeling that intensity building up, but I can tell there's a tremendous difference in processing power with such a small amount of sleep. So bear with me. I hope everything's still flowing well enough for you guys to follow at home. And I'm going to do my best to get some sleep tonight. So we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed. We got 10 seconds. We're going to pop back into stance, starting with orthodox position. We're going to be firing punches this time all the way through, all the way forwards and all the way back. So we're going to start with just that basic advancing jab again. Jab, jab, jab. We're bringing that rear foot up to follow. When we get to the closest point to our camera, we're going to pivot through into southpaw. Boom, into southpaw. Now we're going to step back with that rear foot, right? Back foot goes first. Boom. Twist through the shoulders for a little jab and recenter to square. Back foot first, jab, recenter to square. Back foot first, jab, recenter all the way back to orthodox position. Step in for the jab, rear foot follows, square, jab, rear foot follows, square, jab, rear foot follows, and now we're going to pivot on that front foot, boom, right into southpaw position. Now we're going to pivot back. Right here, we're going to pivot right back into orthodox, boom, for that lead jab, and we're going to continue stepping back as we throw a barrage of punches. So for this retreating cross, what we want to do is sink a little more on those knees and send that rear foot back even further as you twist through for the cross. Now when we return to center, we're opening up that space, we're stepping backwards. Toss the lead jab as you bring that rear foot back for another step back, and then sink. Lead foot follows. Now sink on those knees, boom, and extend that rear foot to open up an even further gap with a retreating cross. Boom, back here, all the way back to the start. We're starting over. Step into the lead jab, pop, step in again, pop, rear foot follows, pop, rear foot follows, pop. Twist through, pivot on that front foot for the cross. Whoosh, there it is. And now we're gonna pivot back, whoosh, for a jab, tossing that fist in the depression dummy's face. Sink for the retreating cross, boom. Stepping that rear foot back, stand up tall to the center, toss from the hip for the jab, and we're stepping that rear foot back again. Sink on it, whoosh, for the cross, and stand tall, jab. Sink for the cross, jab. On your way back up, back to stance. Advancing jab cross this time. Step for the jab. Rotate for the cross, taking a small step forwards on that lead side, not switching all the way over. Step again for the jab. Small step for the cross. Jab. Small step for the cross. And now we're going to send it backwards. Step back for the jab. Step. Lead foot follows. Sink for the cross. Lead foot follows, rotate for the jab, rear foot slips out, sink for that cross, rotate for that jab, sink for that cross, rotate for that jab on the retreat. Stepping forwards, reverse it up, let's go, step for the jab, step for the cross, step for the jab, step for the cross, step for the jab, pivot through, whoosh, there it is, pivot back, bam, there it is, and that is the end of our 3 rounds of progress and success for the day. Hopefully you did good at home. I hope that you challenged yourself to your skill level and found room to improve. Remember, there's unlimited room for progress in martial arts, in all forms of martial arts. So go out there and explore, see which flavor you like the best. For me, so far, it's been Muay Thai. Love Muay Thai. I love continuing to train, continuing to learn new things, and to making myself more and more adaptable and more capable out here. Remember, it's always better to be a warrior in a rice field than a rice farmer on a battlefield. So it's not about using these weapons, it's not about going out and being violent. It's about being prepared so we can handle any given situation. And the last thing we want to resort to is violence, but it's good to know that in our back pocket we have those tools and we can be more confident out in the world when we're going through different situations. Madwithhats says that was fun. Dope. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Happy to hear that. And I will catch you guys same sack time, same sack channel, same sack life tomorrow. Sackman out.